It's going to go on tonight till about 10 o'clock. You can see all the people over there. There's street entertainers, there's unicyclists, jugglers, people dressed up in silly costumes, and you've got all the food over there. It's a lovely place to spend an afternoon, the South Bank. We'll speak a bit about that later on. Over here to the right you can start to see the dome and the golden cross of Sir Christopher Wren's masterpiece, St Paul's Cathedral. Now St Paul's, it took the architect, Sir Christopher Wren, 35 years to complete, finally in 1710. Now you can visit St Paul's. You can see on the dome now a viewing platform, and you can go down into the crypt. In the crypt you will see the tombs of Admiral Lord Nelson, the Duke of Wellington, and the architect himself, Sir Christopher Wren. Ahead of us, the Blackfriars groups of bridges. First a railway and then a road. You can see the railway bridge is undergoing extensive work, all for it was meant to be for the Olympics, but they are running a little bit behind schedule. You can see they're not really finished. What they're doing is they're going to put a railway station over the whole width of the River Thames. And how they're going to do it is utilise the red columns. Take a look left and right, you can see these red columns. These were the first foundation pillars of the old Alexander Railway Bridge. Built in 1864 by Isambard Kingdom Brunel. You can see there is no top to the bridge, taken down in the 1980s due to the heavy modern day trains. Looking back you can see what they're doing. They're going to extend over and use the columns for the foundations of the new railway station. And that hopefully is going to be finished by the end of the year. As we exit the bridge, we'll talk about the building to our right, the white building with the green sloped roof, the old City of London School for Boys. Been left money since 1441 to educate the boys of London town. If you look on the face of the building, you may be able to see the four statues. Look from left to right, they are of John Milton, Francis Bacon, Isaac Newton and William Shakespeare. They are arguably some of this country's finest scholars. And to the left we've got a print of the British royal family, taken in 1977 at the Queen's Silver Jubilee. That was placed there about 3 months ago because on Sunday the 3rd of June we celebrated the Queen's Diamond Jubilee. And to celebrate 60 years on the throne, we had a flotilla of boats which followed her down the river. It was over 7 miles long. There was over 1,100 boats involved. The largest amount of boats seen on the River Thames since the coronation of Charles II over 300 years ago. So ladies and gentlemen, this is about halfway. So how are we all doing? Is anybody enjoying the little talk? As you can see folks, I'm not reading off anything, so really whatever I find interesting, we'll just simply pass it on. Does anybody want to know anything, or shall I just keep pointing out a few basics? Keep going? Okay, great. We'll talk about the South Bank in a bit, but let's have a quick look over here to the right. Now look at the embankment wall. Look at the top of the embankment wall and look over it. Where the cars are going, behind the trees, can you see the Silver Dragon? Now those Silver Dragons are placed on all major approach roads into the City of London. The archway is Temple Arch or Temple Gate, the boundary line between two cities. Leaving behind us is the 1 square mile City of London. Now London, the capital of England, a very small city and a very old city. The Romans settled in London back in 43 AD. They called the area Londinium. Translated from the Latin, it means port by the water. Look at the head of the boat, we can see the London Eye, the clock tower of Big Ben. This is all the political side of London, the city of Westminster. This is where you're going to find all your grand cathedrals and palaces. A gentleman did ask me when born about Buckingham Palace. This is where Buckingham Palace is ahead of the boat. To the left we've got the building with the electronic billboard going across the top. Now that building is this country's National Theatre. It does incorporate 3 of this country's finest auditoriums. The Cottleton, the Littleton, and the largest is the 3,000-seater Olivier, named after Sir Laurence Olivier, the founder of that theatre. Then the bridge ahead of us is the Waterloo Road Bridge. This is known here in London as the Ladies' Bridge, because it was built 90% by female labour, owing to the fact the young men were away fighting in the Second World War. Now it is the longest and widest bridge to span the River Thames, and you can tell that it is built by the ladies, because look across the front of it and you can see that the bridge, it does go on and on and on. Now again, this was the only bridge in London to be built by females. It was built under budget and in time, unlike the Blackfriars Bridge. So I think, before anybody says anything, well done to the girls. Of course there was a man in charge of the teasing competition. Over here to the left you've got the Queen Elizabeth Halls and the Percival Rooms, two small theatres. On the roof is a building made of wood. It looks like the front of a ship. The single-roomed hotel. It's called A Room for London. Now, it's got its own website. If you don't believe me, check it out. A Room for London. Very cheap to spend the night there. At only £100. The only problem is you only have to stay there for one night. Get in there quick, because I looked on the internet this morning and they are booked up until mid-November. And alongside it is the Royal Festival Hall, the only building left over the Festival of Great Britain of 1951, home of the London Symphony Orchestra. And you can see along here to the left, this is the extension of the South Bank. Again, this is very busy today. All your street performers, you've got a market over there selling leather goods for ladies perhaps, arts and crafts. And as we come beneath Charing Cross Bridge, keep looking to the left, and you can see a traditional fun fair for the children. Now I know it's very hard for children to stay on boats and buses all day. It can be a little bit tired. They just made a little park over it, folks. They've got all like water fountains, they've got sand pits, zip wires, so you may want to go. You've got one of them nutty water things there, go up there, pay £5, spin round 100 times, get off, throw up and go home upset. That's right. Not a bit. And we keep looking to the left, we've got the London Eye. The London Eye, Europe's largest observation well. It stands at 135 metres tall, and it consists of 32 individual glass capsules or pods. They each represent a borough in London. Now if you look at the wheel very closely, you can see that it continuously moves. You get on the wheel and you get off as it continuously spins. And if you're interested about taking a ride, it's going to cost you about £19. It'll take you as little as 35 minutes. On a good clear day like today, they do say you can see 25 miles around London. As far downstream is a place called Dartford in Kent, and as far upstream as Windsor Castle. The last point of interest is a